I'm so sick of double standards in our society today. So there's this story of this lady called Lindsay Clancy, right? This lady basically unalived, I think, two or three of her children, right? And the incredible part is there are women globally who are rallying behind this woman, supporting her, because apparently she was in a psychosis, a postpartum psychosis or something to that effect, right? So for those who don't know what postpartum is, it's basically some type of grief that comes after having kids. I'm not going to go deep into that because that's not the purpose of this particular video. My biggest issue with this particular topic is that it's okay when it happens or when it's done by women. Like, can you imagine a situation where a man comes up and says there's a condition that only affects men and it's testosterone related, and it caused me to unalive my three children. Do you imagine what the world would have said if men were in court saying, "Be lenient or free this person"? Can you imagine the optics of that? Like, activist groups would, like, there was a movement called Men Are Trash in South Africa. Can you imagine the optics? And this is another thing that I wanted to speak about. We have to talk about how lenient the law is on female criminals. I can show you two people, two men, like a man and a woman, who have done the exact same crime. They are not going to be sentenced the same. If we're going to advocate for equality, why does it have to be in beneficial areas only? If there's advocacy for equality, then why is it that if I commit a crime and a woman commits a crime, when we don't get sentenced the same way? And the crazy part is, I'm in the legal field. It doesn't make sense because taking someone's life doesn't necessarily change the severity of your action. Obviously, there are certain aspects that are taken into consideration: the intention, the negligence, and a variety of other things that influence how you're going to be sentenced or if you are even going to be convicted, right? But the problem is, in in an identical situation, a woman will most likely get a lesser sentence, and I have a problem with that. I have a problem with that because if we're going to be saying how men and women are equal, even in the workplace and everything like that, cool, let's do that. But don't just do it in areas where it benefits women. Be equal everywhere. My problem is, if this was a guy who did something because of testosterone related issues and there were men outside the courtroom supporting him, the world would be going crazy. How does this make sense to you? Cool, it's fine. We can, if it can be proven that it was a mental condition, then treat it as such to some extent. But my issue is, if in the exact same situation, if it was a man, there would not be as much leniency or support as there is for this lady. I'm not saying be harsh on her. I'm not saying do whatever. I'm just saying it just sucks to be a guy in today's time. And women still say, "Oh my God, we are so oppressed. We live in a man's world." How, dude? Like, the laws, like the world revolves around women right now. I don't know why there's still this narrative that, yeah, we live in a man's world when the law, like, if you get pregnant today and I say I want that child, and you're like, nah, fuck it, I don't want a child, you can actually terminate your pregnancy without my consent. And conversely, let's say I'm like, nah, I don't want that child, and you're like, well, I want that child. You're going to have that child, and I'm going to be forced to be held accountable for that child. So you have the authority to decide whether or not I have a child, and your decision either way impacts me. If you decide not to have it, I'm emotionally distraught that my child actually died. If you decide to have it, I'm forced to participate financially and even emotionally as a parent. I don't have a say in that. Like, even convictions, I just spoke about this. Like, we can commit the exact same crime. I'm going to get a harsher sentence just because I'm a man. It's one of the most irritating things, and it's sad. And it annoys me that, and then people go online and say, "Oh my God, we are so oppressed." How, guys? There's so many like there's so many laws that are made to make you superior in every single way possible. Even if physically I have the capacity to do a lot more, the law and basically socioeconomics have made it so much more difficult to achieve anything as a guy. And I'm sure there's a woman listening to this. Oh my God, what is he talking about? I hope these women have sons and they love them with all their hearts. I've always said this. I hope they have sons and they love them with all their hearts. And I hope they see the horrible experiences they have in life because of the inequality. Like, it's kind of like the people are pushing the inequality to get to a point whereby when you're a man you become a slave to a woman. It's insane to me that this lady killed 3 children and the world is rallying about behind her, and they're saying, "Well, like, don't be too harsh on her." The fuck, man.